We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Self-Publishing Insiders. I am Jim Azevedo. I'm the Corporate Communications Manager at Draft Digital. We're giving our usual host, Kevin Tumlinson, the day off today. Today is a special episode. It's special because this is an Ask Us Anything episode about Draft Digital promotions. So you guys, you viewers out there, get to run the show. This is also a special episode because I have the distinct pleasure of introducing all of you out there to our friend and our colleague, Megan Spann, who is the promotions manager at Draft Digital. Of course, we've got the legendary Mark Leslie the Fave joining us here as well. Say hello, Mark. Say hello, Megan.
Hey, everybody.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We got so many cool things. Megan's been doing this amazing work in the background for a year now, right? We're just coming up on we just celebrated your first anniversary?
On the 2nd.
May 2nd.
May.
I didn't even get you a cake or anything. I'm sorry.
Dude.
But you've been doing stuff for authors in the background this whole time, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm an author as well. So it's nice to be able to see things on the other side, on both sides of publishing. I know what I'm looking for as an author, and then I can better serve authors because I know what questions to ask of. No, we're not looking for that. We need more of this.
That's perfect. Yeah, I was really excited when the three of us got together last week and we're like, hey, we're going to do an Ask Us Anything on D2D promotions. And I was telling them, like, I'm sure that there are some things that I don't even know about what you guys do in the background. And there is. So we started talking about that. I'm like, well, this is going to be a great episode. So can you guys, I guess, begin by some of the stuff that you do for authors kind of in the background in terms of what we do with some of the retailers, even what we do with libraries, and then how authors can get involved with that.
Awesome. So for background with what I do specifically, I run a lot of reports.
All right.
And so with those reports, it helps me kind of keep a pulse on what's trending, what's selling, what can we kind of push a lot more. So some promotions are preset. Our partners tell me what they want, and I create a form. I send it out to our promotions list. So for some of these promotions, you have to be on the list. Sometimes we post them on Facebook or we share them other places, but it's for best practice to make sure you don't miss anything. Our form is the best, so I send those out. With those reports, we have a variety of things that we do with that information. So I kind of try to take it one thing at a time. So just with the promotions themselves, we're starting to kind of ramp up what we can do in-house. The whole thing is, I don't know what to tell readers about if you don't tell me first. If you don't tell me that, hey, I have a new release, this book is on sale, or just any other fun fact. This is it's inclusive, it's diverse, it's something that kind of gives me some more leeway of how to help promote. Let's see. And you don't have to wait on me to send something.
That's really cool. So our partners, so you're talking about our retail partners, will actually come to us and say, hey, you guys, we're going to do a special promo for Father's Day, for example, or for graduations. Like, can you like get us a few titles that we can possibly consider these for this promotion?
Right. So they'll ask me for that. I send out an email and says, hey, do you have a title that is perfect for Father's Day? Sometimes there could be some other requirements like pricing or it's specific to the holiday.
Right.
And they submit those to me and I submit it to the partner and they make their selections.
Okay. So how does an author tell you, like, how does an author get considered for these types of things? Or you mentioned how, like, you need to know about what an author is working on. How can they submit that information to you?
Well, it's easy. Okay. If you like playing Where's Waldo, you kind of have to find me. No, I'm joking. We have a form. We have a form that is very helpful. It helps me keep track of a lot of things. There it is, the promotions form. So this is our just generic form. So if you want to initially get on the list that, hey, I want to be added, there's a box for that. You can use this form as many times as you need to. If you have a book coming out every week, send me an email every week using this form. And as you go through it, you can tell me more details about your book, like the genre if there is a price drop. Yeah, see, like on this screen, you can tell us if it's fiction, nonfiction. Some of our partners are foreign language friendly and they may ask for something specific. So I pull a lot of information using this particular form.
That looks pretty simple. So that's the it's just a 2-page form.
Yeah, very straightforward.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, they could find that form by clicking on this link here.
Yes.
Imagine that.
A lot
like
of great
one of those
information.
cooking shows where you pre-prep stuff, isn't it?
You guys didn't see me snap? Poof. Poof. Do you have either you, Megan, or you, Mark? Do you guys have any recent examples of maybe an author or a group of authors who got together just to let you guys know, like, hey, we want to do this kind of thing? Thought you guys might want to be involved, or maybe is there anything that we can do? We have this promotion that we're getting set to release in a couple of months. Do you have any recent examples of anything like that?
Absolutely. We had a group to approach us back in December almost. So again, that's when I say you don't have to wait on us to have a promo ready. A group of authors for women's fiction. So we have that event coming up next month, in fact, where we're going to celebrate women's fiction with a whole list of authors. And they came up with their proposal that says, hey, this group of authors got together. These are our price points. Here are our covers. Can you help us? And so with that, Mark and I got with them and we had a meeting to like kind of flesh things out. And I'm excited about next month.
Yeah, that is awesome. I have to say, Alyssa just commented to help us out, is for anyone listening to this in the podcast feed, the URL is d2d.tips/D2D promo form. You go to that link, or you can basically email our support team and they will send that link to you, support@draftedigital.com as well. Just for anyone listening audio and not watching our beautiful faces on the YouTube or Facebook channels.
Yeah, you can just blank us out there. Megan, you mentioned that they got in touch with you like back in December. Is there like a minimum or maximum time requirement as far as promotions go, when people should contact you or not?
Yes and no. For us, for the in-house things that we can do, I can usually move pretty quickly on those. We have a number of things that we can do. Since the merger, now we have access to the Smashwords store. So with that, it offers me a lot more control to be able to change things out frequently. We have our curated shelves that I've been having a lot of fun with. There you can see the diverse reads to devour is a newer shelf. And I can kind of change those out. I can time those. So for us personally, I would just like maybe at least 2-week head start, just in case I have something else scheduled. But for our partners, the more if you can get it to me faster, that helps a lot, because some of them are kind of booked up with what they can and can't promote into 2024 already.
Yeah. What sort of expectations should authors have when there's a promotion? Let's say Apple's having a promotion, some kind of a promotion, or Barnes & Noble or Kobo or any of our other retail partners, and they're looking for a list of books. Do they come to you and do they say, send us 5 suggestions? Or do they come to you and say, send us a ton of books or a ton of recommendations? And then typically, how many out of all of those recommendations do they select?
When I have the opportunity to send as much as I can, I send as much as I can. So usually that applies to our library partners. They are a lot more accepting of more than one. So some of our partners, they only allow me one entry per author. And so that really limits what I can submit. And even with those, they may say, you can send it out to 1,000 people. We only want 100. And then from that 100, we may pick 5. Or we may pick, more than that. But it's a smaller number as compared to what we can do with libraries. So.
So can we dig into that a little bit more, just in terms of the library? So, for example, with a retailer, they may be asking from us, they may be asking from Random House and Hachette and other publishers as well. They think of us like a publisher. And then they collect all these titles, but they only have so much room, right? Like maybe they're going to feature 300 titles. And so if we send 500 and Random House sends 500 and Hachette says 500, they still have to pick 300 of the total. That means not everyone who submits gets a chance to get in every time. But what is the key? What is the key to getting accepted? Is it to just give up if you ever get rejected once?
No, you can't be accepted if you don't submit.
Yeah.
So, and I work very hard to ensure that I kind of like to think of it as a pie, and everybody can at least have a bite. So I try to go through and I look at what's being asked initially, what is following the requirements for this particular promotion. And a lot of them now, especially, they want more variety. So yes, it's easy to say that we know romance is king, but we don't all want to feature romance every single month, and we want fresh faces, fresh faces, and fresh titles. So I try to lift up those voices of the newer authors or authors who may not have ever gotten in a promotion before.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how often are these promotions running? Is this like a monthly thing, or is this every once in a while, once a quarter from the retailers? Does it vary from retailer to retailer?
It varies from retailer
to library?
Yeah, it varies. My most frequent promos typically come from Apple.
Okay.
We do a lot with Apple. But the libraries are definitely picking up. And again, you don't have to wait on a promo to submit something. So I will be sending out something next week, in fact, for things in the future, so that we can kind of have more on the table to be able to offer to authors. And for us personally, the goal, and I haven't set this to Mark yet, but the goal is for at the bare minimum, we have something at least once a month, I think, that we control and can kind of tinker with to kind of figure out some more things on our side as well.
Okay.
I love that.
I love that too. Can I just back up real quick? So one thing that you said is really key that I love is you said, authors, you don't have to wait for a promo to tell us about something that you're working on. Now, with that, do you have any like key best practices, or what are some of the key denominators that you're looking for when an author or a group of authors sends you a promo or sends you a description of something that they're working on to be considered as a promo?
Quality.
Okay.
Quality in your cover, quality in your blurb, quality in your story. We have a reputation of sending out some good works, and we want to keep that going. So we want your best. And again, I don't know what you have until you tell me. So the more information you can tell me about your book, helps. If you just say, well, it's fantasy and it's $2.99, that's great. But if you say that it's fantasy, it's originally $2.99 and now it's on sale for 99 cents. First book is free and it's diverse. You give me more to work with to say, okay, I know a partner who's looking for that, or I know I can put that there. So the more information you can give me at a glance, because I get thousands of entries sometimes. So the more I can kind of sort through and see things at a glance helps me out a lot.
All right, perfect.
Can I add another thing that I think is really, really helpful? And you said this earlier, but I just want to reiterate this because I think it's so important. Is, oh boy, it's the 18th of May, and I have a price drop tomorrow on the 19th. I'm going to tell Megan about it. Well, Megan needs to have time to curate that, put it together, maybe message some of our retail partners, hey, this has got a big promo running or whatever. So the longer the lead time, the better. And I'm talking weeks in advance, if not months in advance, because some of our partners, they're booked up on some of the promos until February of 2024, which means somebody comes to us and say, hey, next week I have a promo that is whatever. Can you see if this retailer wants it? It's like, well, they got no space. Yeah. And because I think that thinking ahead, that planning ahead is so critical. So if you say, hey, Megan, I got a promo happening in end of June, and you send that form in, Megan first has time to sort through the thousands of submissions she gets, look for that really cool indicator, like it got a 5-star review from Kirkus or whatever it was, some really cool thing. Hey, Brandon Sanderson says my fantasy novel is awesome. Well, that's a cool thing. Yeah. Because, Brandon Sanderson
won an award or
that kind of won this award or something's going on. Because we can use that to either, send to our partners and say, hey, just a heads up, this looks like a good book. Or I think what we did with the, when the women's fiction authors approached us, they they sent us a list of 12 different authors with a whole bunch of great titles across like different types of women's fiction.
Yes.
That would allow Megan to create multiple carousels and stuff. So, but you can't just build that in a day or two or a week. Sometimes you need a lot more time.
Yeah, that's really time consuming. How long does the typical promotion last at a retailer? Does it vary? Are these month-long promotions?
Typically with libraries, it's a month. They prefer a month. With our other partners, it can vary. Sometimes it's just across a weekend, like something special, like Memorial Day or Mother's Day, Father's Day. And for the most part, it's usually a week, about a week. As we get closer to like the holidays, you'll see longer promotions run for longer, like two weeks a month. So it can vary a lot.
Okay, great. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. That never happens, you guys. Oh, I know what it was. I remember prior to the acquisition that Smashwords was doing some promotions with libraries, and I had heard that if a library, sometimes a library will choose, let's say, a series starter from a particular series, and then that series starter starts to move, and the librarian's like, wow, this is working really well. Sometimes they'll come back and they'll purchase the rest of the entire series, like sight unseen, because that first book in the series just moved so well, and then their patrons loved it. Have you guys had any similar experiences? Have you seen anything like that?
We have, and not just with libraries. We've seen some great follow through of series specifically with some of our other partners as well. Apple has a great series program that have been very helpful with. HP Mallory, in fact, just had one. It's currently running, and she had a series for it was women's fiction, as a matter of fact, paranormal, and her series is being featured. Hoopla has a wonderful program called Bonus Borrows. I think they have it once every quarter, I believe, and it is a wonderful program.
There's an example right there.
So you can just see the before, the during, and after. We blurred out the titles and the publisher information, but most of them see an amazing lift from participating in the program, and they have kind of changed the rules a little bit so that more people can participate. So you won't often see a lot of repeats of titles now going forward.
That was cool. Can we go back one screen real quick? So that's cool. So that's showing us, is that downloads before, then during, and then after? Wow.
Yeah, there are some exceptions, right? There's some titles that didn't really have any action, but that's pretty standard. But on average, what Hoopla found is they make these available to a library for an entire month, that any library can just give them to patrons for free, as many copies as they want. And the hope is that this is part of a series, often book one in a series. And then they track during the promo, how many downloads did they get? And then after, how many did they get where they're actually selling them? And so what you'll see is you go from virtually crickets on most of the titles, to an increase in downloads. Obviously, during the promo, it's hot. People are getting books 2 and 3 and 4 in the series, and you see the downloads and the sales are really increasing, but the after effect is still positive. So an author, near the bottom of the list, you see is like, the month before the promo, one sale. During the promo, 971 downloads. That's a combination of sales and downloads. And then 33 sales the month after. So 33 compared to 1, I don't know. It looks kind of good to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. Let's start popping up some questions here, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, we're laughing here because we both have control over these buttons, and sometimes we step on each other's toes.
Whoops, sorry.
No, my bad. Okay, from Paul Murdoch. Paul says, and thanks for submitting your question, Paul. Paul says, I just published Murder by Whispers, The Shadows with Drafted Digital. I am on disability and do not have any money for advertising. I only have 3 friends on Facebook. How can I freely promote my book?
What do we charge for this, Megan? What do we charge for all this work we do for authors?
$1,000 and a puppy. It's included. So the percentage that Drafted Digital gets from you using our services to publish your book, that's it. There's nothing separate that you have to pay. There's a special fee that you can guarantee that you will pay this amount, that I can make sure you're in the promotion. There's nothing extra that you have to do other than meet the requirements for the promotion.
Okay.
And that was D2D.tips/ can you pop that up again, Jim?
Yeah, let me go grab it.
Just for people, because even I think someone in the comments said, I can't find it when I log into my dashboard.
Yeah, this is where
so
you guys want to go.
tips/ D2D promo form, and that way you can tell Megan about your awesome book and why it's so cool and maybe who it appeals to, and something that'll help make it stand out, so that if a promo comes up for mysteries, let's say Overdrive is looking for a mystery promo to push to libraries, and they'd probably be planning something for July at this point, right? Let us know, and then Megan can email you and say, hey, fill out this form and submit your mystery for it, or whatever the case might be.
Okay. Let's pop up another question here. This one's from Regina Clark. Regina asks, do we need to have review comments from someone of note to get selected from the promotion for the promotion at Drafted Digital? Thanks, Regina.
No. You just need to have a finished product. That's it, honestly. And again, follow the requirements. Make sure that you have a quality product. The things that I'm looking for when I just glance at something to send over to our partners is, first and foremost, did you follow all of the instructions, the requirements? So you have a professional looking cover, that everything is what they ask for. So if they're asking me for paranormal romance and you submitted sci-fi fantasy or something, I can't submit that. Or your regular price is $2.99, but you didn't select the sale price, so it is also $2.99. I can't submit that either. So the main thing is simply making sure that you are meeting the requirements and following all of the instructions.
Awesome. Okay. So we talked about retailers, partners. We talked about libraries. What else can we talk about here? Beyond? What else? What are some of the other things that we are doing that our authors and indie publishers may not even know about?
Well, one thing I do want to jump back to, and I'm sorry, but
that's all right.
With the conversation with series, another thing that's very important is your metadata matching, being correct, because oftentimes we'll try to run a promo, let's say, and we don't do perma-free. So if your book one is perma-free, my suggestion is that you kind of let me know that, but you put a different book on sale. Like, let's say book 3 is due to come out, so you put book 2 on sale, and that's what you submit to me. In the box of things to know, tell me that book 1 is perma-free, or it's part of a series, but make sure that it matches so that you have title, subtitle, book number, and not book number, title, and it's all mixed up, because it won't link that way. And it makes it very difficult for readers to be able to locate you. And again, a lot of us are working with a lot of information very quickly. So we're trying to see things at a glance. So those things being together is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop up another question here from Shirley Carr, who asked, how do we access the promo form without the link? I'm logged into my account and I can't find it.
That's a good question. And I don't start from that point of being logged into my account, because my account functions a little bit differently.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure how to tell you how to navigate to it from that particular way, but
well, it's not built into the promo form yet, right?
No.
Right now on your book titles, there's a little green box that says promotions, where you can make coupon codes for Smashword Store, where you can submit your price changes and schedule them far in advance as you plan ahead. We will, once we're done with a lot of the merger activities, the dev team will help us by adding a little link to the promo form right in your dashboard. But right now, email support@draftdigital.com, or go to the URL that we keep popping up on the screen and saying aloud for those listening in the podcast feed.
Okay. Yeah. And wasn't there also an email if they're at the promo form that they could ask you questions too, Megan, if they have some kind of a snag? What was that again?
And those come directly to me. So it's promotions@drafteddigital.com. So it'll create a ticket, a link to your account, and I see those every day.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
I want to just pop up a quick comment here. Whoop. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, comment?
Nice.
Hey, Barbara, congratulations.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I didn't want to skip over that one.
Barbara got a ton of bonus borrow downloads. So obviously, Barbara, you were in one of the Hoopla promos, and it worked out well for you. So I love that. That's so fantastic. hopefully it's continued to, you've continued to sell at Hoopla after the promo.
And tell me your good news as well. You don't have to just tell me when something's on sale. If you've been in a promotion and it has worked out well for you, you had additional questions, or maybe it didn't, give me that feedback so that I have more to work with, so that maybe I need to deep dive a little more to do some research. Again, that's where those reports come in handy, and just kind of to expound a bit more on those reports. Again, I run a lot of reports. Mondays and Fridays, and at the end of the month, I run a big one. And those have been kind of fun to work with, because we're kind of creating our own kind of corner of bestsellers lists, and it's fun to see the titles, the ones that are kind of repeating themselves, and new titles that are bestsellers. And here you can see a whole collage from previous reports of top sellers.
Megan, that is an excellent segue. Because that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Like, I think some of our authors and publishers may not know about some of the different bestseller lists around the industry that we contribute to.
Yeah.
For example, Locus Magazine, we contribute a monthly sci-fi and fantasy list. I think that's the top 20 bestsellers for sci-fi, top 20 bestsellers for fantasy. Every week, we contribute I'm losing the numbers here, a top 20 list of bestsellers to Fresh Fiction. Perfect timing, Mark. I wanted to see about getting you erased. That appears every Friday at freshfiction.com. And then every Monday, we provide a list of the most highly anticipated top 10 pre-orders to Fresh Fiction as well. And you know what I've noticed?
So who do you provide that to? I'm like, Megan, you send that out to all of our partners, don't you, pretty much, and say, hey, here are the hot titles you should be paying attention to?
Yes, I do that particular one once a month, and that's the top 25 for top sales from the previous month, and then top pre-orders for the 2 months ahead is my big report that I send. Right. And so that goes to everybody that we are partnered with. So Apple, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, all of the libraries. So they all get those reports, whether you distribute to them or not. It helps them to know, well, even if we don't have them, well, maybe we can ask Draft Digital if we can get that author to use us to distribute, because they're at the top. So it gives us all a lot of information.
So here's the thing that we do out of the goodness of our hearts, because we love authors, right? And we only make money when you sell books. That's how we make our money. So we want to help you sell more. When Megan sends this list off, and one of the retail partners that you maybe are going to through a different distributor or directly, and you're going directly to them, but your book pre-sold through our systems to a bunch of other places, we're helping them sell more of your books too. So sometimes that increase in sales you may see, not through us, is because we're pushing your book and letting the retailer know. Because again, we don't differentiate. We just want to help authors in general. Now, obviously, we want to help authors who are publishing through D2D, but inadvertently, we actually help a lot of authors who may not be going to some of the platforms through us. And I think that's kind of a cool thing to do, is to always be looking out for pushing new authors, new faces, new voices, because that's really the lifeblood of the entire publishing industry is all this great content that readers can enjoy.
Yeah, especially those authors who are sort of up and coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in addition to Fresh Fiction and Locus Magazine, we're also sending bestseller lists to In Detail Magazine, which has been around for 10 years. That has done a great job of bubbling up new and emerging indie authors as well. Megan, are you still sending a list over to Publishers Weekly?
I am.
Once a month as well?
Yes.
So Publishers Weekly. We send data to some newspaper you might have heard of that comes out of the East Coast, New York somewhere. So we send them data weekly. And Megan also mentioned that we are putting together our own bestseller list that we are going to start publishing beginning next Tuesday. Now, we're all really excited about this because, for the longest time, the New York Times used to have an ebook bestseller list, and the indie authors loved it because indie authors have that freedom of being able to publish their books at significantly lower prices than the large traditional publishers could do. These books would sell really well. They'd land on this bestseller list, and the indie authors were celebrating. But then that list went away, and so indie authors were beginning to depend on USA Today's bestseller list, and lots of indie authors hit that list. but the USA Today bestseller lists went away as well. So now we're going to kind of take that ball and run with it, because Draft Digital, we're a distributor. We have this visibility to help us see across multiple global ebook retailers and library aggregators to see how things are trending out there, to see how books are performing out there. And we're going to report that information back to you beginning next Tuesday. So keep on the lookout for that. Is it a top 25 list? Top 50? What did we decide on there?
It's the top 25. So here's something interesting we do, and I'm going to splash some of the previous bestsellers like I did before. These are some of the ones that we've been providing to Fresh Fiction. This is an example of just like the top 10 from fiction from a few weeks ago as well, because we have been tracking those over time via the various reports. This one right here is the top 5 of the top 25 fiction and 5 of the 25 top nonfiction. But what we do is there's 4 lists. We have the top 25 authors by fiction units, and then we also have it again by fiction dollars. So sometimes, you run a price promo and it's 99 cents, so you sell a lot of copies, but there may be a book that's at regular price that's still selling a lot of copies. And so there's one list of by units and the other one's by earnings, like dollars. And so that allows us to have, I'll go back to the units, for example. When we get the list, we get a raw list of sales from across the retail and library platforms. The retailers pretty much report virtually every day. Some of the libraries are a little bit farther behind, like maybe a week or so, but we run that previous week's sales and we collect them all from all, whether it's distributed through D2D, whether it's distributed through Smashwords, because right now they're still separate, and then even including sales from the Smashwords store. And we sort them by dollars and units. But then, as an example, you saw L. Kennedy had the score that was in it was in the top 25 every single week this year so far. But L. Kennedy also has 2 other books from that series that are also on the list. But what we do, because we want to feature, like Megan said earlier, more authors, different voices. We don't want. It's great that authors may have 4 or 5 books on the bestseller list, but we want to have 25 different authors featured. So we take whatever author's top book, we feature that. And then if they have another book or 2 on the list, we remove them from the list to make room for 2 different voices. Because the whole goal of this is to help as many authors as possible get visibility. So you may be on the top 25 by units, and then someone else may be on the top 25 by dollars. Now, there's going to be quite a bit of crossover there often, because they usually go hand in hand. But there may be somebody who just ran some promos that weren't price promos and got a lot of sales, so that'll be included. So there's 2 lists of fiction, 25 each. And then there's 2 for nonfiction, top 25 by units and top 25. And that's where this was from last week's report, as we're preparing it to go live on the Draft to Digital blog. And again, it's going to have very much like the one from the one from Fresh Fiction. It's going to have the list. It'll link to the books in the Smashwords store, because we want to link. We're going to link it to a place where authors make more margin anyways. So why not help them out there? And we also control that store, so we can do things in the Smashwords store eventually along those lines. But I love the fact that it's basically I can do the math without taking my shoes and socks off. It's 100 titles. Now there may be crossovers, but you're going to get at least 50 different authors featured every week. Well, there could be a nonfiction and fiction author, so maybe not 50, right? Because Kevin Tumlinson could be on both the fiction and the nonfiction bestseller lists, right?
Those lists at Fresh Fiction are cool too, because not only do we link to the book page at the Smashwords store, we also link to the series page if that book is part of the series. So when putting these lists together, Megan and Mark, have you guys noticed any common denominators for some of the bestsellers? Like, what are some of the things that tend to pop out to you that best-selling authors tend to do week in?
Apparently romance sells.
Romance sells, right?
Who would have thought? Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Let's take a look at some of the covers, right? Like, take a look at some of the. Obviously, you can tell the genres, right? Thriller, romance. So a lot of the genres do really, really well. This is the nonfiction and the fiction. And when you're looking at the various covers, the one thing you probably notice that is in common is the covers are pretty stunning. They're pretty spectacular, and they speak to the genre that they're written in. And I think, I mean, that professionalism is obvious when you're looking at it. So that is a key thing.
Can you put that picture back up, Mark?
Oh, yeah, sure. The big one?
Yeah, that one. Also notice too, everybody, that when you have your book out there for sale at Amazon or Apple Books or Barnes & Noble or wherever, your cover image is going to be this really small thumbnail-sized image. Look at the title of a lot of these best-selling books. They just kind of pop.
Yes.
And if they don't pop, the image itself does.
Right. And it just makes me feel inadequate when I see all those bare-chested men with the abs and everything. Right? So.
Well, you've got your look, Mark, with the blazer. I mean,
sports coat look. There you go. That's all I need.
You've got the sports coat. Romance is coming out. It's a thing now.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, great. Bald
coming this fall. That's what I've heard anyway. I've noticed that putting together these lists that books that are part of a series, they always tend to sell a little bit better. But I've also noticed that from back in the time when Smashwords was reporting bestseller lists and ebook pre-order lists to USA Today's Happy Ever After blog, which is now gone away. But I've noticed that you'll see books hitting pre-order lists 1 week, and then the next week after the book releases or 2 weeks later, that book will appear on the bestseller list. That just goes to show that pre-orders are a key best practice that can help you accumulate orders and then feed in to those sales rankings once your book goes live.
For sure. You want me to let you in on a little bit of secret about these bestseller lists?
Please, but don't tell all these guys.
Okay, don't. Nobody's listening. It's just the two of us, the three of us here, and what we're sharing this is that authors who use us to distribute are more likely to appear on the list because we don't know your sales on any other platform. We can only report on them if we know what those sales are, and so there are secret talk. Yeah. There are authors who may use us for more of the platforms rather than fewer of the platforms, and that could be a benefit because not only does it save you time, and we take care of a lot of the stuff like working with the retailers to get your promos and stuff like that, but it could those totals could add up a little faster. So
and that's exactly why I'm sorry to cut you off, Mark, but that's exactly why our partners come to us, because they're running a single retail store, whereas as a distributor, we have that visibility across several retailers globally.
Interesting.
Okay. So what about some of the things, kind of shift gears here and talk about some of the things that authors can do for themselves, maybe with coupons? How does that work? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is your business. We're here to help you navigate it, but we try to put as much control into the author's hands as possible. So again, you don't have to wait on us to facilitate things. So we do have, on the Smashwords side, they had the coupons. And now that they're kind of merging things together, you do have access to it now on your D2D dashboard. And you can run your own sale to your newsletter. Tell me about it. And you may have gotten a book club and you're offering coupons or what have you. There's many different things that you can do to mix and match to grow your business or try to figure out what's going to work best for your business. So you can kind of play around with those and how long you want to run the coupon. I believe you can make them private too, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And at the Smashboard store, so it's so funny, like the humble coupon. It's so funny. So at the Smashboard store, we started offering coupons like way back in 2009.
Really?
Yeah. It was like the first little tool that Smashwords had. And it's like still to this day, it's one of our authors' favorite tools. You can have a public coupon, you can have a private coupon, you can have a metered coupon, which simply means that you can track the number of redemptions that you have. So you come up with some really cool and fun promotions out there. You can do global coupons, and with the global coupons, it's like literally one click, and then your entire catalog can go on sale. And for those of you who don't know, you can access these coupons now from your Draft to Digital dashboard, because we are now in phase 2 of the post-Draft to Digital Smashwords merger. And as phase 2 of the integration strategy, we're moving some of these Smashwords tools over into your Draft to Digital dashboards that you have access to today. You have access today to these store coupons.
Yeah, I mean, I love this opportunity. You can go in, you can select every book in a series. You can give it a percentage off, a special price. You can make it private, or and Mark Coker suggested this, and I think is a great idea. Is you send your newsletter out and say, hey, there's only 25. I limited it to 25, so get in and get it now, or it's going to be gone. So you can do some really anticipatory, get it now, call to action, very sense of urgency right away, and that can be something that can help. And again, if we see a lot of action on titles that, in the reports Megan's running, she may go, what's going on over here? Hey, I'm going to tell retailers this is a good title.
Yeah, and if you set a coupon and set it to public, which means anybody can access that coupon. Basically, you're putting your book for sale at the Smashwords store. If you set a coupon for public, that makes your book eligible to appear in special deals. So at the Smashwords store, on the front page of the Smashwords website, there is a button for special deals. A lot of readers go to the Smashwords store, and the first thing they'll click on is special deals to see which books are available on sale, and that can help with your visibility a lot. Not to mention, there are also these, we do several, let me think, I think there's 4 or 5 annual store-wide sales at the Smashwords store every single year. You can participate in those as well. As a matter of fact, at the end of December last year, we completed phase 1 of the Draft Digital Smashwords merger, which meant that every single pre-existing Draft Digital author could move their books into the Smashwords store and get their books listed into the Smashwords annual end of year sale. And that ended up being the largest, most successful sale in the history of Smashwords last year.
I took advantage of that, and it was great because I saw a really nice lift in my Smashwords sales. And it pushed two buttons to make it happen. That was so awesome.
Yeah.
2 buttons. We got to try to get that down to 1. But that's
I know it was 2 buttons because I had to get them into the Smashwords store first. Then I had to accept into the promo.
Good. Yeah, those are always a lot of fun. So we have the end of year sale every December. In March, we have Read an eBook Week, which did really well this past March. In July, we're going to have the annual, it's called the Summer Winter Sale. We do that every July. It's like a celebration of the global hemispheres. And that's a month-long sale, and that always is one of our biggest sales of the year as well. We're playing with a couple of ideas to add even more sales to the calendar this year. So keep an eye on that. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Let's see. Talked about coupons. What else can we mention? We talked about the bestseller list coming up at the Smashwords blog. Do we have anything new and upcoming? What else can we talk about? Oh, Smashwords. So Smashwords pre-sales will be coming up soon. That's the next tool that we'll be adding to your Draft Digital dashboard in the coming weeks. Not going to let the cat completely out of the bag right now. That announcement will be coming up. Keep an eye on your Draft Digital dashboard for that next tool.
Yeah, that's a great self-driven author tool, which is awesome.
I'm going to pop up this comment here. We're getting close to time here, but I want to pop up this comment from Will. I know we covered this a little bit earlier, Megan, but I just want to make sure, just to kind of reiterate. And from Will, any tips on filling out the promo forms? For example, book description. I thought you gave a great description of that, but this might serve as a reminder.
Yeah, that's where you will put your blurb and everything. The fun box is what I like to call the fun box. Is the box where you can kind of tell me a lot more information about your book. Aside from this is the genre, this is the price. You can tell me this is a new release in a 4-book series. This has won awards. This has a high rank or whatever. You can tell me more information that can kind of let me have some inside knowledge about your book at a glance that kind of helps me out a little bit more. So no real tips other than you can't over promote your book. So the more information you can give me, the more information I have to use to help you.
All right. Okay. So we are at time already.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We might have to do this again sometime because there were other questions that we're going to want to get to the next time.
Yeah.
Every week I'm like, okay, like we've got 45 minutes to talk about this, and then it's just like bang, and it's over. So Mark, Megan, thank you guys so very, very much for your time going over this stuff. It always seems like there's so much more we can talk about, but I appreciate your time being here. Um, Viewers, thank you all for tuning in. We couldn't do this show without you, really. If you can, do us a favor and like, share, comment, and subscribe to Self-Publishing Insiders, because when you do things like comment and especially subscribing and sharing, it puts more eyeballs onto this show. It brings in more viewers, but that also helps us to attract and bring in more industry luminaries to talk about key insights to help you sell more books and become more successful. Also, be sure to bookmark D2D Live. If you go to d2dlive.com and bookmark that page, you'll see a countdown timer so you can see when the next live Self-Publishing Insiders show will be. You can also get a peek at what the topic will be and who our next guest will be. So bookmark that page. And finally, if you are new here, if maybe you're just kind of dipping your toes into the self-publishing waters, why not sign up for a free Draft to Digital account? No risk. We're not going to pummel you with a bunch of email spam, but we'll welcome you into this community with open arms. That brings us kind of to the end. So everybody, viewers, thanks again. Megan, thank you again. Mark, thank you again. Be sure to hang out in the green room, you guys. At the end of this, Mark, you wanted to share a little spot here, huh?
From our good friend Kevin Tumlinson? Yeah, let's do that.
That guy. Thanks, you guys. See you all next week.
Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created D2D Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at drafttodigital.com.